Hey everybody, what's up? Jordan Arell here making my daily video on circumcision, and today I want to talk about foreskin porn. So what is foreskin porn, you may ask? Well, foreskin porn is exactly what it sounds like, porn with lots of foreskin in it. So if you're not familiar with this topic, I would highly encourage you to see what foreskin is for yourself. What is it to be uncircumcised or intact, as the proper term is? What is it to have your whole penis that nature built for you over billions of years, that evolved to be the most sensitive part of your penis? So I would encourage you to actually go look up foreskin porn on Google, or you can look up a great series is called Women Who Love Uncut Cock or Uncut Cock Masturbation. Get creative, whatever you want to look for. You can find it somewhere. Look up foreskin or uncut cock plus whatever you want to see done with that foreskin. And there's endless opportunities to horrify yourself if you are a circumcised male or a woman who unfortunately does not have an intact partner or lives in a circumcising society where up until 20 years ago most men were circumcised. Sorry, but you're missing out on a lot. And as you'll see in these videos, the foreskin is actually the most sensitive part of the penis. If you really want to get more context, you can look up the Sorrells study, Sorrels, which it shows what you're actually looking at in terms of nerve endings, in terms of the guy's actual feeling. As you'll see in that study, just in a Google image search, the foreskin is by far the most sensitive part of the penis. All the parts of the foreskin, especially the frenulum, which is the little wattle thing underneath the head, as well as the tip of the foreskin, the part that bunches up at the top, has a bunch of stretch receptors, has a bunch of Meissner's corpuscles, detects a lot of fine touch nerve endings. Feels good if you bite it, or if you play with it with your tongue, or just play with it with your fingers. You'll notice guys do a lot of fine or slow movements with their foreskins, and like that when women do it a lot of times, because it's extremely, extremely sensitive, and you can do a lot of stuff with it. Another guy to look up is Glen Campbell. Is that the right? Yeah, I think so. He does demonstrations and shows men with foreskins how to actually get more pleasure out of the foreskins. The male G-spot and the male clitoris are both sort of structures that you could say are the foreskin or are part of the foreskin, because it's where most of the nerve endings are, the same way that all those nerve endings are in the clitoris. So again, you have to kind of keep that in mind when you're looking at this. Also, if you can hear the guy, or if it's a guy who makes a lot of noise, you'll notice how he responds to having his foreskin touched. So foreskin porn is great. Unfortunately, it makes guys feel pretty inadequate and pretty shitty about the fact that they had their foreskins cut off, because they can actually go now and see exactly what they're missing. Causes a lot of guys to get pretty obsessed with circumcision and with the fact that they no longer have their foreskin. For me, it definitely turned me foreskin curious. I wasn't gay before, but I would definitely date a guy with a foreskin at this point, just because I've watched such an absurd amount of porn with guys having their foreskins played with and manipulated and touched by themselves or their partners, that at this point I'm just fucking curious. Like, I just want to know what it would feel like to be with either a guy. I mean, ideally I'd want to know what that feels like for myself. And to a degree I can feel it, because I've restored my foreskin to some degree. I'm a very slow grower, but I've restored a few inches of skin, and it feels a lot better now that I can feel some of that gliding motion, some of that having the head covered and feeling the foreskin massaging the head as it goes up and down, and the head being, you'll also notice, if you look closely at foreskin porn, guys who are not circumcised, guys who are intact, have very shiny, smooth heads of the penis. The glans is very, very soft and often a bright red or bright purple, because it's an internal organ. It's covered by the foreskin most of the time, and so it is it's like the inside of your mouth. It's an internal organ, and it feels really, really good when it's touched because it's extremely sensitive. Um, Guys who are circumcised have that exposed all the time develop a callus over it called keratinization, and so they can't feel much. You'll notice guys, and when women or men give guys blowjobs in the United States, often it's very like all the way in and like a lot of movement, because otherwise the guy can't really feel it if it's just like lightly kissing or sucking or that kind of thing. Intact men can orgasm from that, can orgasm just from having their foreskins touched, just from having their frenulum lightly tickled. They can orgasm from that and have multiple orgasms. And I look up foreskin multiple orgasms. That's another thing. And yeah, I'm really, really sad and excited to introduce this to people because on the one hand, it's the sexiest thing in the world. It's so cool that so many men have this. And, on the other hand, it's really sad that so many men don't have it and they lost it and they don't know what they're missing. Because foreskin is sexy. Foreskin is beautiful. Foreskin is extremely, extremely pleasurable. And it helps with sex too. This is a lot harder to see in porn, but it also makes sex not need lubrication and makes sex just a lot easier. Often it's a lot easier for guys to maintain erections because they have a lot more nerve endings there, and it's the way that nature intended it to be. Yeah, the frenular delta is another thing I didn't mention, but it's where the frenulum, the little thing underneath the head of the penis, it's actually a kind of a whole triangular shape that all is super, super densely innervated, and like a drawstring, it pulls the penis up. It's a very intricate structure. When it thrusts into the vagina or is pulled back, there's this automatic feel that it needs to go back up, and then you want to pull it back again, and then up again, and it's like this. It's very well designed for sex and for pleasure because it's made in a way that the stretch receptors and the in and out motion create this rhythm, and it's very natural. It just makes sense. It's just so intuitive, and you have no idea what this actually is until you look at it and see it firsthand. I'd also encourage you to read accounts of this. Can really help to understand it from firsthand experiences. I'll probably do a video about that in the future, just reading off accounts. What's it like to have a foreskin? You can Google that, and but I'll probably also read some of those top accounts because they're also pretty revealing of what it actually feels like to have that or to lose it. Some men circumcised as adults will talk about the difference in orgasm, and you can see it. I notice a lot when I watch circumcised versus intact porn that guys with foreskins will often ejaculate a lot more profusely and a lot farther, and have them last a lot longer. And this is also typical of reports of intact men. They will say, they have full body orgasms and the cum just shoots out, and with circumcised men, not as much. It still happens, but just statistically much less. So those are a few things about foreskin porn. Would highly encourage you to watch any of those videos I mentioned. Uncut cock, women who love uncut cock, foreskin play, long foreskin. Long foreskins are the best, as all circumcised men who are obsessed with foreskins know. So yeah, foreskin's sexy, beautiful, wonderful, awesome, and hopefully soon we'll all have one if Foragen succeeds in regenerating the foreskin. And in the meantime, I would encourage anybody to, stretch your foreskin every day. It's called foreskin restoration. There's stuff you can do, and you can't get all the nerve endings and the structures back that you would have that are there for intact men, but you can get skin that looks a lot like a foreskin and feels still really good, covers the glands and helps it get rid of that callus and make it an internal organ again and function like a normal penis is supposed to before you cut part of it off. So I encourage you to do that. You know, keep your eye on Foragen. It's going to go for profit very soon, and yeah, really excited to see things change around this issue as we continue to spread the word about the truth about foreskin. So thank you all for watching, and I will talk to you again tomorrow.